Now today I want you to think about work. No matter what you do, you probably get frustrated with your job at times. There's days where work is just a drudgery. And maybe your philosophy of work is, thank God it's Friday, TGIF, and you just live for the weekend and live for the opportunity to get away from work and go do something else that you like to do. As I was thinking about this, I thought about Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And I don't know if you remember that movie when you were young. You have these seven dwarves all lined up and they're getting ready to go to work in the morning. They strap on, their pack, all their gear. They've got picks and shovels and stuff because they're going to leave the cottage and go work in the diamond mines over in the mountain over there. And they get ready to go to work and they go out of the cottage with this enthusiasm and they're just excited. They're singing, hi ho, it's off to work we go. And they're just excited to get out and go to work every day. And, I'm not sure I can relate to that. That's an odd experience, I think, for most of us, because most of us drag ourselves out of bed in the morning and get in the car and we have to drag ourselves through traffic. And as we go to work, we're thinking, I owe, so off to work I go. We're motivated by that debt and we got to pay off those bills and we got to have some money coming in. What is it that keeps you going, that gets you going to work every day after day after day, week after week? What is it that keeps you going? Maybe it's the money. I don't know. Maybe you just think, I've got to pay those bills. I know a lot of people go to work so they can play. And so you go to work so you can have some money to go do the things you really like to do. And you have your vacation, your golf, or whatever it might be. I know a lot of people go to work because they're trying to get to the top of their field and they want acclaim and they want to achieve something that people will notice. They want to be better than others in their field. And I know some people go to work because work's a place where they can have power and exercise control and influence over others. But I wonder if you've ever thought about what the Bible says about why to go to work. Did you realize that the Bible actually says quite a bit about our working life, our working world? The Bible is relevant today. It was written thousands of years ago, but it's still relevant today. And it speaks to this area that's so central to our lives. You probably work 1/3 of your working hours are spent at work. And I've seen an estimate recently that suggested maybe 40% of our working hours, or of our waking hours, I should say, are spent at work. And yet that's so significant, yet the Bible speaks to it. And the Bible tells us why we work and how to go about our work. No matter what your work is, we win at work, not by getting more money or more acclaim or more power, but we win at work when we learn how to maximize the potential of our labor to bring honor to God. The Bible describes a number of worthwhile reasons for why we work. For example, in 1 Timothy 5, verse 8, it talks about how we work in order to provide materially for our families. And 1 Timothy says that if a man doesn't work to provide for and care for his family, if he doesn't provide financially the needs of his family, it says that he's denied the faith and he's worse than an unbeliever. And so that says that even the working is so important that it's really even a mark of whether our faith is legitimate or not, if we're providing for our family. And then in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28, it tells us that we work not only to provide for ourselves and our own family, but we work to provide for people around us who are not able to work. It says that, it talks to people who hadn't been working, and it tells them to get to work so that you can earn something that you can give to those in need. Because to be honest, not everybody around us is able to work. They're orphans and elderly widows. They're disabled people in society. And it's our job to be able to provide some surplus from our labor that we can help sustain and meet the needs of people who simply are not able to work. So those are some reasons why work is important.